Hey YouTube, what's up? Dr. T here from St. Petersburg, Florida. Welcome to my channel, which now hosts 132 videos on a variety of topics. So let's continue in China and take a look at the explosive situation of their startups.
同类型的产品的话，你们有竞争对手吗？
现在就量产的没有。
This woman is the co-owner of a Chinese investment company. She's considering whether to provide funding to this tech startup.
在进行这一轮融资的过程当中，你们需要多少的资金呢
3个亿人民币。对，是这么一个资金的需求。那么简单来讲呢，是为了我们未来更快的下一步的发展。
In China now, 12,000 startups are being created every day. They are springing up one after another in next-generation industries, aiming for a stock listing. And flowing into these ventures is an estimated 17 trillion US dollars in personal assets. It's a surging investment boom that has tapped into the pocketbooks of 1.4 billion people. Fueling this trend are new private sector investment companies. With some interests as high as 30% per annum, they are magnets for money from wealthy individual investors.
那你就告诉我，你投8000万，你希望多少时间回本？
我当然希望半年内回本啊。
那这个是做不了的。
我跟你说，我即便认为你这水真的能治病，但是我需要的是赚钱，我不做情怀。
Moving all of this capital are new financial service businesses which use the internet to gather money. This company promises an annual interest rate of 9%, guaranteeing the principal investment and interest. But it's not all smooth sailing in this red-hot boom. China wants to shed its label as the world's factory as it pursues new growth industries. But will the personal assets of 1.4 billion people trigger the country's next round of growth? Now China is conducting an epic experiment, uniting the public and private sectors. We follow the tireless desire for growth of the Great Dragon. This is the Pudong New District in the city of Shanghai, known as China's financial capital. It is said that financial dealings in Pudong exceed $270 billion a day. The district is like a pumping heart, injecting the lifeblood of money into the Chinese economy. Some 6,000 financial institutions, including major state-owned banks, jockey for space and business in this district, their financial clout climbing as Pudong's profile grows. A new force emerging in Pudong are private sector investment companies. A number of investment companies gathered on this day to look for promising startups in the field of virtual reality.
我们其实大家都知道 VR 是个非常火热的行业，无论是对投资、对各个创业公司，或者对所谓在创业公司中在创业的各个合作伙伴。
Virtual reality is expected to explode into a $70 billion industry worldwide within 4 years, and investment companies are all angling for a piece of the market. Many of the owners are in their 20s and 30s, who collect their investments in the millions of dollars. And they're all vying hard to put money into up-and-coming ventures.
因为我们也是做风投，然后专门投 VR 的，有好几家公司都是我们投的。
The hottest item shown at this event is a virtual dating game. Investment company co-owner Pan Xiaoxi is always on the lookout for a promising startup.
这里面有几个游戏是我比较喜欢的，然后我看中其中有一家游戏公司，我会去跟他对接，我可能有意向去投，就那个就是一个女孩子，就是男生泡妞的那个。早上好，人好，不好意思呢。
Pan Xiaoxi is a rare breed in this financial hub, where few women hold senior positions. She had a strong desire to contribute to China's tremendous growth. Founded in 2012, the business was named the Huawei Group, which means Brilliant China. The firm employs 50 people. They invest millions of dollars in high-tech companies and profit by getting those companies listed on stock exchanges. Their financial backing comes from the wealthy, rich investors and business owners, for example. The Huawei Group started with $45 million in capital. It has tripled that to $136 million. Pan says she imposes an annual investment yield threshold on herself of 30%. Today, she's having a meeting with a co-owner who's proposing an investment in a top-of-the-line tile manufacturer.
他们 A 轮呢需要融资6000万。A 轮融资6000万。
他已经上了吗？
准备在。
你要想想看，这6000万我们投到别的项目里，我们的这个，对吧？这个收益有多少？就传统产业。
对。
你还是想要进去的是吧？
A 股上海证交所上市，这个概率还是比较高的，
我们现在不能说概率问题，毕竟这个是真金白银投给他们，是吧？这个。对。还有就是说，有意。
Pan pays attention to one factor most of all when she invests, whether a company has high growth potential or not. The company she's looking at may be stable, but she won't invest in old industries that generate low returns. She's only interested in high-risk, high-return investments. She's decided to give this venture further study. The desire of the Chinese government to search for new avenues of growth is behind the country's investment boom. Chinese leaders want to move from manufacturing-led growth to innovation, turning their nation into a self-innovating economy that will create cutting-edge technologies and businesses. To do that, the government has designated 10 growth areas in which China will develop core next-generation industries.
充分激发企业家精神，调动全社会创业创新积极性、汇聚性，推动发展的蓬勃力量。
This strategy has led to issues surrounding the funding needed to foster growth industries. Investment from state-owned banks and overseas investors fueled China's economic growth in the past. That funding flowed into state-owned enterprises and joint ventures, revving up the country's manufacturing engine. However, that engine has slowed down, decelerating foreign investment, and state-owned banks have reached their limit just trying to support existing industries. That's why the government is focused on the estimated $17 trillion in personal assets held by Chinese citizens. The problem is how to get that money to the growth industries. Government officials came up with a new idea: channel the money by increasing the number of private sector investment companies, which had barely existed up to then. They enacted a new law to encourage the establishment of investment firms. And unlike most advanced nations, China didn't strictly regulate financial institutions, granting them considerable leeway and freedom. As a result, the number of investment companies increased rapidly from 2013. Now it's estimated there are more than 22,000. The government also boosted these firms' investments by giving them preferential tax breaks and other incentives. In response, investment companies began piling funds into startups. These investment firms now hold the key to this new possible driver of growth for China. The next time we link up with Pan Xiaoxi, she's making a move to invest in the virtual dating game startup she saw at the event. The company has been in business for only 2 years.
你这个是负责建模的吗？
他是负责建模的。
哇，对，我觉得对人物形象也是我印象非常深刻。
Virtual reality is related to the 10 big growth industries designated by the government. It's an area Pan is focused on.
你们两个公司内是你们两个是股东，然后这个资本方有几个？
Before investing in a company, Pan always meets the top management. She wants to make sure they really do have confidence in their technology.
咱们这个鸟面日记，你上线之后，你有信心说在短期内把你投入的成本收回来吗？
这个我倒是没有那么大的期望，就说我是有觉得可能是个投入什么，但是我觉得这个产品肯定会在市场切成。
所以我知道会有引爆点，但是从投资方来说，他肯定希望的是说尽快的有回报嘛。站在我们角度来说，
投资方是这么，我觉得投资方是这么想的，投资方 VR 投资是投未来。你说短期它有爆的回报，那你真的还不如投一个成熟的 IP。
如果愿意去做 VR 这个领域的话，首先他应该有这个觉悟。咱们这实话实说，对于 VR 这个领域来说，
还继续开发手机的这种 VR。
Pan likes the fact that these entrepreneurs did not lose their confidence in the face of her challenge.
但是能初步体验出来。
うまくいきそうですか？
肯定会成功。我投资到现在没有失败的案例。
Pan studied overseas and went to graduate school in the UK. But she majored in art and learned about investment on her own.
这个中国青年海归网，就是我们其实中国青年海归协会。
This is one of Pan's weapons for her investment activities. The network of 600,000 members of this returnee association. The Chinese leadership highly regards young people who have studied abroad, considering them the new driving force that will spur entrepreneurship and innovation.
这个是我。对。
Pan serves as the head of one of the association's branches, overseeing some 20,000 members. She's gotten many of her clients and investment targets from this network. The business of investment is driven by the unseen power of personal connections unique to China.
只能够成为海归协会分会会长的人，就是还是相对而言比会员更加有优势，因为你掌握的是第一手资源。每年的就是比如说政府的一些比较大的会议上，都是由我们海归协会派去地方分会会长来参加的，所以能够跟政府有更多的一个对接的一个机会，对一个非常好的一个平台。对。
China's personal assets are pouring into growth industries through various types of new investment companies. A new frontier for securing these personal assets is the business of internet finance. The business has exploded since it first appeared a few years ago. Right now, across China, more than 2,000 companies are moving nearly $90 billion. Returns are high and can be up to 13% annually or more. Personal investors hurt by the volatility of the stock market are stampeding to this business.
我先生进去9万，赚了35万。他说这个钱这么好赚，就把房子卖掉进去了。我都从6000点一直低到1400、1649点。别的多少钱？这样那房子，侬想06年假使现在买它100多万，我几乎是100多万侪没了呀。还有他的工资。不行，不，所以我不想做了。
So we'll take a break here and go on to the next episode shortly.